A little bit about the Chashivas of Eretz Yisrael. So we know this is Parsha of Meraglim. So first question is, why did Rabban Shalom pick Eretz Yisrael? What's the yichus of Eretz Yisrael? Could have picked a much nicer place. The Zionists at one point wanted to pick Uganda, right? It's I don't know about the people there if they're any better, but certainly the land is beautiful. There's no deserts, there's no nothing. Eretz Yisrael has a lot of deserts and doesn't grow much. What's the greatest yichus of Eretz Yisrael? So we know that in the Bria, what's the highest madrega? What's atachlis achayim? Our tachlis achayim is to be misakin, to create tikkunim. Right? Rabban Shalom, the first thing he created in the world was a maskala. Right? What's the maskala? Yamin, Smail, Enza. Chesedin, Rachman, right? That was the first thing. And then what came after that was the Shviras HaKelim, right? What's Shviras HaKelim? Shviras HaKelim represents one thing, that is an ability to be Mesakein, to do tshuva. If too many Eiris came down, and we're not the koyach to be Mekabel them, so the Kli broke, right? And then came Shem Mah HaChadosh, as we know, and we're Mesakein everything that broke. So that Pchina in the world, it doesn't just stay all the way up there in Olam Hanekudim where it happened. It goes every single madrega, every single second of every single day. So where can you find a place where the tikkun is built into the makom? And that's where Eretz Yisrael comes into play. Because how is that? Because we know that Eretz Yisrael is the Eretz Zovas, Cholav, Udvash. What is chalav? When the behema or isha, they have a vlad, right? So they might see dam. Normally there's always dam nida coming out. So the dam nida stops, and it's ne'epach l'chalav. What does dam represent? Din, red is din. Ne'epach l'chalav, chalav is lavan. Ne'epach l'chalav, and it becomes, you have what we call aham tokas hadin. Right? Shtikl Rai we just saw is that the word basar, which is also din, then how do you see basar in din? That you have a shin, b'miluai is alikim, and the reish, ribua, right, is also alikim, right? So you have shin and the reish of the basar, and the base represents two shemas, two alikim, so that's basar. So you see that it's gone, and that's what color is basar? It's red. That's one. That's on the Cholov. And on the Vash, you have two. It's not so much in the colors, even though some people say it's red. But to me, it doesn't look red. But maybe there is such a thing as red honey. Ich weiß nicht. But anyways, so I just to say quickly that Dvash is coming from one or two places. Either it's Dvash Tmarim or it's Dvash Dvairim. Most Jesus hold Dvash Tmarim. Tamar is Miloshin Mar. So it's a bitter thing, right? So since it's called a bitter, it's Tamar. So the Mahapachit Dvash, as we know, is a Masuk. So you Mahapachit from a bitter to a sweet. And if it's Dvairim, so you're taking it from a Sheketz, right? And which is Asubah Achila, and you're turning it into something that's Mutabah Achila, which is also you don't have to do anything to it. It's menamuchan when it comes off the beehive or it comes off the date. It flows off. So those two things, unique to Eretz Yisrael, are representing Amtokas Hadin. And since the tachlis of the Bria is Amtokas Hadin, so therefore Rabban Shalom wanted us to be in a place where it'll be the easiest to make Amtokas Hadin. And that was also what the Meraglim, why did he let the Meraglim go? Not to see how big or small or how big the giants are and how great the fruit is, to see if it's a place where Hamtakas Hadin can happen. Which is also, because of that, also the Sitra Achra has the strongest achiza over there. Because since you need a tikkun, so the Torah there's no Torah like Eretz Yisrael. So the Mela, the anti-Torah, also there's no anti-Torah like you have in Eretz Yisrael. That's mitzad the Kanois Shabbai, so the Eitz Chaim guys or whatever it is. But it's Mitzias anyways, I'm not saying any Chidushim. But I also wanted to say one other thing. what's from the most chashuv things in Eretz Yisrael, and in general, is yayin. Why? Because yayin is in Menusach HaGavei HaMizbeach, it has the most chamadik halachas, everything is in yayin. What is the mitzias of yayin? Yayin is, first you're getting something min hamuchad. Grapes, they're delicious, they're good. What do you do with it? You take it, you kvetch out, you get out the juice, and then what do you do with the juice? You let it ferment, it spoils, right? And then what happens after it spoils? You stick it in a barrel and you wait a little bit, then it becomes a good wine. So you see the hamtaka going, you're going from good to bad to better, right? You're going from Olam, from Zah, which has both in it, the good and the bad, and you bring it up to a pchina of Arach, which is Kulei Tovim. That's like Yayin. No, but in Yayin, you have Yayin that's Mishumala Asid Lavai, and you have a Yayin that's Shmara Yayin, which is represented. You have everything included in the Yayin. That's part of the cheshivas of Yayin. They have so many things included in it. When a person makes Kiddush, what happens? He's filling up his kais. What's the gematria of kais? 86. Gematria Elikim. What's the gematria of Yayin? 70. That's the nekudas of Shem Elikim is 70. Yeah, 7 nekudas is 70. So you're making Kiddush, something seemingly is Kulei Din. So what do? So you take the cup and you put it in your hand and you hold it like this, right? Where the 5 fingers are supposed to hold it like this, not like this. So the 5 fingers which are representing Chamisha Chasadim, they are surrounding your becha. And that is gives it the ability to be mantik the din. The oid, you put it where? In your palm. What's the palm? Is kaf achas asara. What's the kaf? Kaf is gematria 100. What's 100? Is me'er b'rkon. So when you put the kais in your hand and you make the bracha, so you have the ability, it's a kais shel bracha because you put it in the palm of your hand. It's connected the kaf, which is me'er b'rkon. The oid, when you make the kiddush, there's an Indian having a kippah on top, that it has to go over the top a little bit. If you think about it, kippah is mamish derech neis. How could it stand there if there's no wall keeping the liquid in place? So that's where it's kaf achas asara. That coming from the 100, the mispah of 100 is the one. And the one, we know of only one, and that one is kutshabrichu, and by kutshabrichu, there's no such thing as derech neis, everything is teva. To us it's a neis because it doesn't work, right? But by kutshabrichu, there's no such thing as that. So, I'm just showing you, again, that the ikke tachlis that we have by alma is plenty sitra achret, plenty kilkulim, but we have to be misakin it. I mean, tshuva is coming from Olam Habriya, which is, we have no shaykhs to Olam Habriya at all. But it says by bina, which is kenega briya, you're allowed to ask. In chachma, you can't even ask. So, what does it mean to ask? It means that in another way, you could say, we could ask mechila, we could ask to be for a tikkun and things like that. So therefore, Rabban Shalom, the Rav Chasadav, and that he gave us every ability to be the best we can be. He invented tshuva, which came from Shviras HaKelim, which is all tikkunim. Maybe we zeicher to tikkun hagadol.